Good morning. This is Desiree Dubois, and I'm the founder of An Empowered Woman and Homework. And Homework is where you can live where you work where you live, anywhere in the world. And every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., some of our members share their products, their programs, and their services, and we meet for coffee and conversation. Today, I am excited and delighted to present Annie Pirmoradi. She is the founder of the International Real Estate Investors Group in Beverly Hills, and she has years, I said 17 years plus experience in over
Yes.
400 different investments, lots and lots of experience about investing, buying and investing in real estate abroad. So that's what we want to know about today. So good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Desiree. Thank you very much. I'm honored and very, very happy to be with you and with your wonderful guests today. And it's an exciting theme. And I see that many of your audience have already investment properties in other countries. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that we've been connected for what, 10, 15 years? And
I
we
think
started
11 years. Yeah. I moved
exactly. And we
actually
just
to
never
LA from Paris about 12 years ago. So it was just after that.
and And every time I would meet with you, you were off to Paris, you were off someplace, another country. And it was like, okay,
Yeah,
she's
I
going on these
traveled.
quite a bit. So what is happening now in outside the United States in real estate? Like, and where have you been and what have you seen over the time that you've been traveling, and what areas are you finding to be the most compatible with American investors?
Well, it's a very complex question and a very good question. Yeah, first of all, I believe that there is no bad time for real estate. It's only bad timing. So whether it's up or down, the economy is bad, the situation is bad or good, there are always people who are investing and benefiting and maybe also helping other people with that. That being said, as you said, I have lived, worked, or studied in 17 different countries, mainly in Europe, but also I was like 6 months in Thailand before coming back months ago. And in Paris, of course, I go back and forth. But where is good to buy? I think there are countries that are very unstable from political point of view or economic point of view. I would not suggest in those countries, but really to name countries, I can say a few, for instance, that are relatively good for investment. But first of all, it depends on the people. I mean, who is investing, why they want to invest abroad, because of course it's very interesting to own properties on beach countries. Also in San Diego, Los Angeles, we are all at the beach and in oceanfront properties. The age of the person who want to invest and the reason why, those 6 whys that I think everybody must really answer before thinking and planning to buy. Many people buy because their friends have bought, I don't know, something in Italy or in Uruguay, or I don't know where, so anywhere. They might be happy, but I might not be happy because the expectation, the lifestyle, and everything by different people is different. So my suggestion is to look, it's like any other investment. So you don't just buy stocks and you don't buy investment. I can go through the benefits and challenges and everything, but countries like Costa Rica is one of the very popular places to buy properties. Mexico has many very interesting locations that are good to invest. If people like Europe, for instance, Italy, France, like south of France, or Paris, of course. If you have something in Paris, you're actually very good for all your life. Whenever you buy, like in London also, the prices are not very low, but you can always find occasions and opportunities to buy something for a good price. And of course, my suggestion is, as we are all business people, the best thing is always to combine the business with the real estate. Now, not every business can be abroad, but many businesses have opportunity. It doesn't mean to go start something. It can be expansion of what you're doing here, or what any of us. For me, for instance, my real estate is always connected to entertainment. My clients, my investors, and circle are mostly musician, movie people, entertainment as general, also others. But for me, that's very lucrative and very interesting. So the retreats that I offer, we find always opportunities together. Sometimes we invest together. Sometimes somebody wants to buy something, and I can help with those networks, or I can help just with the planning, because that is the main thing. Finding a property is not a big problem. So.
Okay, so you did go back, you did reference your first question. So you addressed the who. Okay, who's investing, the experience they have, the age, and the interest. So again, are they doing it for your
Yes,
celebrity,
and
are they doing entertainment, or doing for multi-residential, things of that type, right? Starting
exactly,
there.
yes. And
And
then, okay, go ahead.
no, I was gonna go to then the what, I guess, was the next question.
Then is the why, of course. I think the why is very important. We talked about that a little bit, but everybody must know why they want. Is it for vacation? Is it for maybe having some income while they're not there, or like with your work, with homework, or with many business. I help a lot of women business owners because I have traveled a lot, and I keep traveling except the last 1.5 years. As business woman from Dubai to China to Hong Kong to all Europe, and yeah, there are a little bit more challenges sometimes for women business owners. Just when you arrive, if you have some connections or no connections, or how to find these, or how to find services that can really make your travel and future investment very pleasant, profitable, and successful. Otherwise, you lose a lot of energy and time and a lot of money also if those things are not available. So I have gone through all possible and impossible challenges, from financing to just arriving, to finding a driver to drive me here and there, and business connections too. So the why you're going or you want to invest is very important. Some people want to invest because they plan to retire later. Some people like to do now because they like to do some business, or their business is so that they can go and stay somewhere else for a few months or for a while and then come back. What I suggest is, of course, going to that country and to that city at least for 2-3 weeks. So you have an idea of, how is it if you walk in the street late, I mean, not so late, but like 10, 11 in a city. If it's a big city, if it's a small city, it's a beach town. How is it in the morning? How is it if you have things to do with the banks and people and culture and everything? So these are the things that are important in this, the why. And if the why is there, then comes the what type of properties. Of course, it's in United States, it's a little bit easier for everybody to buy a multi-unit apartment building or some office buildings and so on. But because commercial investing is involved in many, many different aspects. So what I suggest is even not buying a house abroad first. Maybe you can start with a condo, with a nice condo, so that you don't have so much hassle of maintenance and everything. So you can close, travel, come back, rent it, all possibilities. So the flexibility is very important. Don't buy or don't invest in something that becomes an elephant in your life.
Best advice you said so far. Absolutely, absolutely. So the what? Because I guess because when you talk about the maintenance of other properties, you're talking about their climate, the conditions, this weather, the winter, the weather factors, and whether it's snow or no snow or rain and no rain, just things of that type that could actually require a lot of maintenance on a single family. Is that your suggestion?
Yeah. Well, but my suggestions are, I know a lot of people who have had these problems while they were back here in the United States or vice versa. Many people from Europe like to buy in the US, like in Florida, in California, and so on. That is the next question, and that is the how to handle all these things. This always need somebody or some management company that nowadays it's not a difficult task to find, but to find the right people and the right management company to do those works and for a good price is very, very important, because one of the challenges for foreign investors in different countries, it's especially if they come from the United States, they say, oh, everybody is a multimillionaire now. We count everything most expensive, most costly as possible, and so on. And if people don't have any comparison or experience, or they don't have alternatives, well, they have to accept that. So my suggestion is, again, to be well informed, well equipped, to try to find the right people over there, wherever it's the investment property, and then to make sure that you don't lose unnecessary money for maintaining this. Even if there are not problems like with rain and snow, and so, which are main problems, even if it's all in order, like you want to rent it for homework, let's say you have two ladies, they want to go and stay there, then the shower doesn't work and it's midnight here, so they call you. What can you do from here in Paris or in I don't know, in Tenerife? So these are the things. Still, you have the lines in the hand, but you have to have people, reliable people, who are over there. So the how is how to find first the property, how to find the right people who can support you and make the life easy for you. And the other thing is also, maybe we can talk later about those 532, that's, about practical point of view, like financing, payment, titles, taxation, and these things. Did I answer the question? If not, just repeat.
Yes, no.
But and English is my fourth language, so if I speak unclear, please don't hesitate to ask me to repeat.
No problem. I'm just curious. What's your first language?
My first language is actually French, because I've grown up and went to school, and they're Persian, because I was born in Persia, but I haven't been there for 50 years, unfortunately. And French, Persian, German, because I lived a long time in Germany, and English. Yeah.
It's okay, great. We made it on the list. No, you so I think what your last point, though, is really one of the most important points is that when you decide where you want to go, because there's so many differences, even as far as even in Mexico, how you purchase the property. We
Yeah.
are familiar with escrows and titles, and even the United States, the West Coast
Yes.
is more for companies, on the East Coast is more attorneys that handle the transaction. So if you
Yes.
need that differentiation right here in the United States, you can imagine the different things outside of the United States. And whether you own the
Yeah.
land, sometimes you don't own the land, you just own the property. And like you mentioned, the
Right.
taxations. I guess without going to all the different countries, what country, and I know again, I don't remember where it is, but one of the young ladies said that still today, there's some countries where a woman cannot own the property by themselves independently. They still have to have a man or a husband sign on for them. So just really before you decide which country you want to use, and it depends on what you want to use it for, I would check all those kind of details. But just
Yeah.
which countries are American friendly in the sense that, or like some countries you have to pay for it all in full. It's no loans. They don't have loan blending and financing. You simply pay all cash in full. So just give us
Yeah.
a few examples. And ladies, if you want to put in the chat some of the countries that you're thinking about that Annie
Yeah.
could possibly address them, please do that. So if you want to know more details about France, or someone mentioned Italy and so forth, and put it in the chat so I can keep my eye on it and share that with her. So give us a country that is, like, we hear about the dollar, buying the houses for $1 in Italy and things of that type, but we know what kind of properties you get for that. What
Yeah.
countries would say are friendly or are easy transition if we were to invest outside of the United States first? Which one seems to be the easiest and the most, similar
Yeah.
to our process to here?
Yeah. To your other question, that it's for women, it's a problem. I really haven't had that problem. Maybe I'm very emancipated and I've been everywhere and I don't give up and so on. But for that one, I don't know. Maybe Middle East countries, but even that I'm not sure because I have done business in Dubai. They are utmost polite, respectful to women, and especially if they are, foreign business women and so on. Uh, Turkey is a wonderful place. I have many people who love going there instead of going Italy. But of course, most of European countries are very American friendly, and also UAE. Uh, but for Americans, I think, except Dubai, those other emirates like Abu Dhabi and so on and so forth, they are not so, how can I put it, so comfortable. Dubai
Okay.
is, for instance, very international. There are a lot of Americans, there are American university, American businesses. So it's really hotel business, mostly, there are brands and or management companies. So it's always, welcome. And they are also investing a lot in the United States. France, of course, Germans, like very much like to invest here and people to invest over there. And interesting thing that might be that some people in our circle today don't know is that some of the countries give even incentives to investors if they invest in those countries. Like Malta, I think, Ireland as well. I mean, so there are few countries. And that is interesting. For instance, if in Europe, I know because I had that, if you like buy a chateau on vineyard or so, and if it's a historical building, not only from a taxation point of view, it's very attractive, but also you might get, some money for restoring this historical buildings, and so it I cannot see any country there, well, except some African countries that are, it's not only Americans, it's all. It's the same for the Europeans, that they don't like so much people, and it's not even wise to invest in some of those countries because of the political situations. So you don't want to buy somewhere something that you're not sure if you can really freely travel to there.
So
And
some
some of
ladies
the,
have asked about,
pardon me?
I'm sorry. No, some of
No,
the
no,
ladies
go
have
ahead.
asked about like Nigeria and Ghana. So those would be part of Africa. But have you ever been there? Have you invested there?
No,
Do you know?
no. I must say, I have a lot. I know a lot of people who have lived there, like for business matters, like they were working at UN, or they had some businesses and so on, or they were um, there for some development projects, like building infrastructure and so on. I think from what I hear, it's not very easy. It has very interesting, aspects also, but I prefer not to give you any information. I can look for that, and I can talk with people that have that experience. Um, but of course, like South Africa or some other countries in Africa, they are very, very interesting. But if people have a special interest to go and live in like Nigeria or Ghana or so, that's something else. So they really have to do their due diligence from all point of views. So I'm sorry, I cannot give a very concrete advice or experience. I don't have it.
No, I appreciate your honesty. What about Mexico? So are there different types
Mexico
of
is,
areas?
yeah, Mexico is very, very attractive. There are so 4 or 5 locations that are really very, very touristically very interesting, also from business. And one very big advantage is it's just, pardon me, it's just next to the United States. So it's reachable. Mostly in those parts, people speak English, and there are a lot of Americans, there are a lot of Europeans, and there are wonderful properties, beach properties. That also the prices, although are going up higher, still there is very interesting possibility for investments.
Do you own the home and the land in Mexico, or does it vary?
No,
Heard
no,
that.
no, I don't. But I have a lot of Mexican like friends or people that I've been working with, like investors, big builders, developers that have big projects or smaller projects. And in entertainment business, I know also some people. Like for instance, one of the things that I have been doing for many years, even before I moved, because for 5-6 years I was going back and forth. I was working with Elaine Young, who was a very famous realtor. So she introduced me to many of her celebrity clients, because she was the realtor for the movie stars. We're talking about 40 years ago, not 4 or 5 years ago. So that was something.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was sending for her, clients, and vice versa. But like locations for filming, that again, there are very interesting from incentives that these governments give, like some states in the United States also. But these are the things that are attractive also. And Mexico, there are a lot of places that you can use instead of going abroad completely to another continent to make a movie or to have the right sceneries. For the kids, it's interesting. And many people I see in United States, actually in West Coast Americans, they speak Spanish too. So it's very attractive, I think.
Okay, so I think that again, all these areas they should investigate. My understanding is that because one of my neighbors bought there, that you should buy through an American attorney. You should have an American attorney represent your behalf. So again, I think whatever states or countries you ladies decide on, find out those type of details, like the legal details. And I was understanding that you don't own the land there; you only own the house or the residence.
Some countries you can, some not.
Yeah.
Right.
And just get that specializes in it.
Yeah. But let me tell you something about American attorneys. Well, all my family, my father, brother, cousins, all around, they are attorneys and so on and so forth. But there are, of course, attorneys that have a lot of international experience. But let's say just the language. The international agreements should or are mostly in English too. But an attorney must really know and have some experience in that country that you want to invest in. Let's say if it's in France or if it's in Brazil or so. Just being an American attorney who can protect you is good, but might be there are some other aspects. The other thing is usually these American attorneys, they have their affiliations. Either they are part of big law firms that they are, and I have a lot of friends who are attorneys, or some clients also. They have branches all over the world. So what they do is like what we do with like Engel and Volkers that I worked. I don't work as agent anymore, but when I was, and still I have the connections. They have, all of, I mean, in many countries, I don't know, 36 countries or so, their teams and their people, locally present. And these American attorneys usually work through their affiliation or their partner firm. So there is, like, for instance, in Costa Rica, there is a Costa Rican attorney who speaks perfectly English, who can communicate with your attorney. That's like the tax attorney as well, because international taxation is very complicated, and it so much differs from one country to another country, like here from one state to other states also. Like if you're in Monaco or in Berlin or wherever. And so that is very important to have American attorneys and so 2 or 3 experts on your team, but it's not enough. And you don't want just accept anyone that, with all respect, that your attorney just can say, yeah, go to him or go to her. Might be good, but you might have better alternatives. So if you're not aware of that, so he suggests the best he knows and he can. But if it happens that you have somebody that you know is more competent or you're more comfortable, never hesitate to ask your attorney to work with them. It's like a building, so you are the owner and the builder of the house. So the plumber, the carpenter, the electrician, everybody must work orchestrated. You might have the best of everyone. If they don't communicate together, you risk to have not the house that you're planning to have. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, I think that is an imperative. I would not even consider that, because again, different countries you own different percentages or different parts of, and it just completely. But not only the legal, like you mentioned, but the accounting implications, because the money, the currency many times is different. So again, their dollar, their value, and how that's going to affect your dollar value. So your taxes are Like, what can you, like here we can write off
It's
certain
so important.
expenses.
Yeah.
Will you not be able to do that in those countries and so forth? So you need that accountant as well to be able to interpret,
That's the
no
most
matter how
important
well.
thing.
Yes, it is, because it could be a wash. It could be a huge tax liability.
It can, and then as you know, United States has some agreements to prevent the double taxing, not with every country, with some countries. So it's very important to know where I am now. What are the benefits? What are the, even when you buy, who should have the title? An entity, a trust, an LLC, a person, a private person. And it depends on, if it's a retired person without big things around and want to buy something and go live somewhere, that's not so much problematic. But if you have business here and you travel there and you own here, and then maybe you want to expand the portfolio, that is very crucial to really be aware and a little bit in advance in knowing what to expect, so you won't have bad surprises. Because once you have activated this machine, or you have invested or partly invested, it's very difficult to reverse it. So it's better to maybe to buy 2 months later, but be sure where you're working in.
Okay, perfect. So that's
And for instance, for one or two mistakes, we had lost actually sort of tens of thousands of euro in one or two cases. So because my husband, he was a builder and developer, architect, and I had my interior design and a company and so on. We had this company, and he was a big investor, and then we married together, and then we continued that together. So in many different countries, in many different scenarios. So it's I can just say, take your time and plan on time. One of the house is to plan on time. That is the when of your project.
So before we go into more of the details, what about Italy and Costa Rica? That's in the chat. The ladies are asking about that. I know you mentioned that Italy and London are like, you can't lose there, but I guess because of the demand. What about, is there anything that you know about Italy?
Italy, not that much. England, yeah. France, not. Germany also. So Italy is, of course, wonderful. I mean, it's always so great to live in Italy. One problem is that it's very difficult with financing in Italy, everywhere, of course, but almost also people who live in Italy, excuse me, mostly they deal with cash, so but in other countries, it's not at all loans, but it's more, they don't want to discuss so much. If you can put cash on the table, then you can negotiate and so on. In other countries, it's a combination. Of course, for investment in other countries, you must have money, but not the whole money. That was what I was referring to in those benefits. I don't know if you go over the benefits and so later, so I don't talk about that now.
Okay.
But Italy is very interesting. The prices are also good. The other was England, you say? No, Costa Rica.
London and Costa Rica, yeah.
London. London is, of course, it's like Paris. You can own a little piece of property, and you can be sure that it only goes up and up, and you can also have very attractive rents if you're not living there all the time. So you can use it as business very much, because like these big metropolitans, there is always something going on, like in LA also. So it's, the hub of many businesses. So it's always very very good. And with financing, it's it's a little bit complicated because like I was living in Europe, like in France and Italy and excuse me, and Germany. If you own property, let's say in Germany, and you want to buy something in France, even two neighbor countries and European Union and everything, still a bank in France would not accept a collateral that you have in Germany or vice versa. You know, so there are other ways. It's not that you cannot, but you have to have a financial relationship, have a banking account in France, or you know, or the same scenario. So these scenarios are very important, and really there are many ways. But it's not like here, for instance, you go and say, well, I want to buy something in Florida, I have something in California, then it's easier. But over there, it's not. So the financing and financial performance, I would say, because even if you have cash, you must really calculate also with that taxation aspects and everything, how to do that you really don't lose money like this. Because once you're in it, it goes, you know, it's for this and that, that's a little, that's only, but when you sum that together, it becomes, you know, a few thousand. So planning at all time.
And then what about Costa
But
Rica?
Costa Rica is also very good, although there have been so much development going on. We had two clients in Costa Rica. They had properties they bought very, very cheap many, many years ago. It was something like $28 million that they wanted to sell, but it was huge beachfront property and forests and everything. But not only that, there are also smaller things that can be bought. It's also, you know, almost safe. From economic point of view, it's okay. Some parts are really going up in value. So some fluctuation is always there, but important is that it goes like this, but it goes always up. Yeah, but Costa Rica is very attractive, very attractive.
It's been a hotspot for a while, but that was going to be my next question. Is that I know that even within the United States, there's some states that are known for appreciation, and some states are known mainly just for steadiness and cash flow. So are there certain countries that are really known for the appreciation? I would believe Paris and London would be two of them. But are there any other places that are just known for the appreciation like California is? California is known, if you buy here, just a matter of time, in 10 years, you're going to double, 10 to 15 years, you're going to double your value.
You know, there are different categories. It's not only the location, although first is the location, but it depends on, again, what you own or what you want to own and where. The prices everywhere are appreciating unless it's a war zone. Even investors buy because they know, well, that would be over, or you know, they can make money there, but that's too risky, or too, you know, you don't want to do that kind of maneuver. There are enough other places like Monaco is, of course, you know, so expensive, but it only goes up and up and up. Like Singapore, you could open an account for $7,000-8,000. Now you have to have $50,000 just to open an account, and properties are extremely expensive. Thailand is very attractive. Prices is also are going up, but still are more affordable, and some from some others countries. But if you talk about big cities like LA, London, Paris, even Cannes and Nice, because of, you know, all the entertainment and movie industry and so on, I suggest, if you like something around, you know, south of France, or Italian Riviera and so on. South of France is very interesting because you can do a lot of business if you own some property over there. The taxes are, of course, in France very high, but you can plan so that that doesn't prevent you to invest. You can have a little tiny, beautiful, or make it beautiful condo. But most of the year, there are people who pay really big money just to be able to go there, like before the festival, before this, or for some others, because it's not only the film festival, there's much going on over there.
Mhm.
And prices only go up, and you can go a little bit, not in the middle of Cannes or Nice, but a little bit in around areas which are beautiful with mountain and sea and everything. So that's really, you cannot do anything wrong with that.
Fantastic. What about the Philippines? Somebody's asking, Nia is asking about the Philippines.
Philippines, I cannot say because I don't have any real connection with Philippines. It's like Nigeria and what was it, Ghana that you said.
Yes.
I would be happy to find some information from people who know about that. But Philippines, I don't know. I know about a little bit Indonesia, Thailand. It's wonderful, very attractive, and it's really has a very strong economy. It's just going up, and prices of properties also. I know some investors, and I met many Americans in Bangkok when I was. I met people from Santa Monica and Los Angeles. There were producers and others went just for vacation for 2 weeks, and then they stayed, like in Phuket or so, opened a restaurant or boutique, and they're there since 15 years. They said, we don't even think of going back. It's so
Really?
wonderful. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
And they have all Europe and America at their places shopping, yeah, so.
Okay, well, this is like so much. Oh, my lights went. So much information. So let's talk about the 5 benefits. I know you've been twiddling around with them. Let's go while I work on my electronics here. Share with us the 5 benefits of owning real estate in some countries.
Okay. Well, the 5 benefits are, I go like this, is personal, professional, financial, and also from lifestyle and flexibility and diversification. I would say the first most important aspect is diversification of your investments. So like you don't put all your eggs in one basket or one stock or so. So real estate is something that you can never do you can do a lot of things wrong with real estate, but not in investing in real estate. So that's what I mean. From individual point of view, it's very important because the situation of the world and also political, economic, and so on, things are changing very fast. Many people are looking to have some double citizenship, or having the possibility, just in case they wanted to live for the rest of their life for any reason, for marriage, for work, for business, for retirement, somewhere else in the world. So you have that flexibility with if you invest, not then, but a little bit planning in advance where you want, and those 6 things. Like probably you have heard 2000, that's the status of 2018. Every year, some 800,000 Americans go and live outside America in other countries. because their cultural interests, or they want, they're living somewhere cold and they want to have something, for different reasons. That flexibility is very good. And the currency, it's always good to have some assets in different currencies. And sometimes like at that time or now, dollar and euro, the one goes up, one comes down, and other currencies and so on and so forth. Of course, we cannot have every currency and everywhere. But if you have some or even two, you always can, can catch some of the losses with one currency in one place with the other ones, because it's seldom that everything collapses together. If everything collapses together, then we're gone also. We don't have to worry. But I don't think it would happen. This is more the mentality. The mindset is very important in all these things. So the flexibility, that the financial aspect, as I mentioned before, you can combine this investment, not just buy and leave it there. You can use it in many different ways. One of the things that we do with my investors club is, although they are sophisticated, they own hotels and they own apartment buildings and villas and everything, still it's important that they want to have this possibility to buy or sell or change, to take advantage of all possible opportunities. And if we don't think of that, again, then it's somebody who wants, have something somewhere for retirement, which is wonderful. But those people, like I see your group, my group, and many today, like business people, especially, everything is easy right now. It's much easier than 20 years ago. So actually, it's like we're living in one big country, with languages, with all online connections and big networks and so on. So it's really very important to approach the investment with this mindset. Again, it contains the why and how and everything. And the other thing, currency, diversification, financial, professional and personal. And from personal point of view, again, some people really want and like to have some other existence somewhere. They don't know for future if they would like, or their children would like to stay in Europe, or to stay in United States, or in Africa, for instance, or in Canada. But we all have a tendency, a direction. I mean, I don't think that you wake up tomorrow and say, well, I'm going to buy something in South Africa, for instance, unless you have some connectivity. But it's more possible that you say, okay, South of France sounds good. I have big business. That I could think of that, but still, you know what I mean?
Yes, and I think you brought up a really good point, is that diversification, not only diversifying in your different asset classes in real estate. We always recommend that you have some, again, the multi, some either notes or some passive or some active or some syndications. You just have a variety of real estate in your portfolio. But I love the idea as far as being able to, I don't know if sheltering is the word for it, but being able to have some cash or assets outside the United States, especially we have no idea how volatile our country could be. And it's just good, another way of being able to shelter your investments or shelter your assets.
Exactly,
so that
yes.
So just being able to, people do it. And I'm sure a lot of your sophisticated investors, that's what they do. That's probably one of the primary reasons that's the first reason, where can I safely shelter this amount of money, taking in consideration the taxations, taking consideration any appreciation or the costs or maintenance that's involved in doing that. So some
Yeah.
of us have access to money, and it could be a large amount or a lower amount, but just being able to have it diversified outside the United States is a really good,
Yes.
especially maybe currencies that seem to be appreciating, the currencies that seem to be really strong.
Yeah.
But that would be it. I mean, I didn't think of it that way, but that would be one of my first reasons for now wanting to invest outside the United States, is to be able
Yes,
to
that's
shelter.
and it's not that you don't like United States or you want to go away or
Right,
so.
no,
It's just you have the
diversification.
opportunity, like big businesses. Look at all huge corporations. Why are they present everywhere? There are reasons. So that would not that in that dimension, but everybody almost, I mean, everybody who has some money or who can make money has the same possibilities. But the difficulty and the challenge is to have such models, but on a mini scale, comparing to those that they have department of legal department, taxation department, and a normal person, even a big investor, they have a wonderful team, like what I have.
Right.
You have to pay $500 for an hour talking with an attorney, and our group, for instance, if they have these questions or some issues and so on, they can use these teams at those places. Of course, it's not without paying, but with much, much less and much more competence, because that, if you're talking with a German attorney who speaks fluently English and can communicate with your attorney, then you can sleep better at night. Or who can say, well, this is the situation that might change. So taking consideration this and that point. So these are the things that are, but again, I would suggest to really to think big, not in terms of size of the building, although that's something else also, but to think big so that people, the naysayers, oh, what, you cannot manage your property in the next city, how you want to do that. That's exactly the same thing. If you own something in Florida, it needs exact the same things that you have if you have it in Italy or in Costa Rica.
And it's not just the naysayers, it's what we were saying to ourselves too. Like, if I can't manage a property down the street, how the heck am I going to manage a property in, South Africa or Thailand or something like that? So it's the same due diligence that you'd have to do. So it's a mindset, change your mindset, expand your mindset, grow your mindset. So what are the three of the challenges of buying real estate in other countries? We touched on some of them, but reiterate that for our community.
The three challenges actually are, one is language. Of course, all the world speak English, but you go somewhere that you can only order something or go to department store and buy something. Otherwise, nobody can communicate with you. But and that is on long term very difficult, because you are somehow isolated if you buy something somewhere else, and then in that place to be isolated because you cannot communicate, you cannot become friends with others, that's a very big barrier. So my suggestion is always don't just watch a movie or see magazines and so on. So, oh, that would be great. Of course, that is good, you can watch them. But if you decide to buy, you must be sure that you like those cultures. The culture shock and the lack of possibility or ability to communicate with people. I don't say that you not discuss political things in Spanish if you don't speak Spanish, but at least to have a gathering, like, I mean, here, of course, in parties, you don't discuss big things. It's just how you are, what are you doing, what I'm doing, and so on and so forth. So that is important. And the legal and taxation we actually we talked about. It's very important to have a team. And one important thing that I would like to encourage everybody to think about is in buying something or investing in somewhere else, it's always good to just to consider also maybe thinking of doing with some partners, or doing in a form of, I wouldn't say 20 people buy a house, no, but like a small rate, or like even two partners or two people that like each other, and one can go, the other can stay, and so on. So this is from many points of view easier. The many of the burdens get easier than, if I decide now to go to buy something in Mexico. Although I have been in so many countries, I don't have any problem to integrate and so on. Still, I would rather to go somewhere that I have at least some connections, even if not partnering. This is very important. And I see very often people really invest big monies because their friend have bought something somewhere. And then 3 years ago, oh, that was one of the worst decisions. He's happy over there. It was terrible. So why to do that on that? Because we are different, You like maybe some place very, remote, very calm, and another person wants, city with, what's going on, going to concert, to this and to that. So that's very important. So not to do it completely alone, with just finding, and there are, unfortunately, there are lot of I wouldn't say fraud, but almost fraud projects going on. How many? And it's not new now. It's going with such a speed. It's, you cannot keep up. But even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, no, 20 years ago, I was living in Germany, in Hamburg. We always had, these offers like buying in Tenerife, in hotels, so and so. And you have this income and that income, and nothing existed. And people had bought. My husband was, of course, architect and builder, said, okay, when you are on the 5th floor, then come and we talk together. So we never heard from them again. And these things happen a lot. So that, and especially with women, I'm sorry to say that there's no, I don't want to project any, vulnerability, but women are more deciding with their hearts.
Emotional.
And emotional, and dreamy, and so on and so forth. So I see when I talk with people, or when I have, all the clients and so on, a gentleman comes and say, okay, I want that and that and that. I want it like this and like this. My wife doesn't like that. So we do, it's almost very clear. They might be completely wrong. So that's something else. You can, direct them in the right direction with the right planning. Women, especially when they have a lot of money, they tend to spend and to experiment a lot. So it's a very bad emotional hurt. With financial, of course, because they could use that money for something really more profitable. And then after that, oh, never ever again. But it's not, the fault is not with the investment in somewhere else, is the mindset again. So that is important. Don't get too excited too quickly.
Well, I'm already excited about London and Paris and Costa
Well,
Rica.
London and Paris, I'm actually, I have somebody who wants to buy in Paris something. Well, I love Paris. I grown up there. I studied there, and I go there every time. Paris is not the Paris of 30 years. People say, oh, Paris is, but you look at LA, you go to a restaurant, you eat for $200, you come out, the guy is finding rest of the pizza in the trash can. So it's everywhere, unfortunately. So we can do something for that. But again, in those, well, I had he's a movie star. He had two properties in London. One was near Thames and one other. And he wanted to buy here because he was most of the time here in Hollywood, film and so on. I said, why don't you keep one of them at least? He said, no, I need the money. I want to invest in some bad investment here. So that on the side. Well, I didn't want to, to make him insecure about his goal and so on. Anyways, he sold that. And then 2-3 years, he was very sorry about that. He said, if I had that apartment, I could do so much. I have so many people that I could take them. We could do this and that and that. So of course, you don't sell anything good that you have over there. So I'm all for, especially if you're in business, if you're in good ages, it's wonderful. Always when I go with my groups, nobody wants to come back. Sometimes they come with their spouses, if they're gentlemen with their wives or otherwise. And it's so much fun. And they say, oh, I would like to buy something here. And then they come and then the business take them. No, but yeah, it's worthwhile to think about that.
Because, I appreciate. Go on. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
We have a little lag here. But I appreciate, the challenges as far as the language and the financing and the taxation and the legal. But most importantly, as we encourage everyone, even here locally, that for your first time around, partner with. I really encourage partnering with somebody else who is either there or very familiar with, at least for the first time, and then until know that some place that you want to dig deeper in, and it's some place that you want to actually go full blast on yourself. And then that's going to lead us to more information about your community. But before we do that, what are the 2 secret strategies to own and enjoy properties partly with other people's money? That OPM is other people's money. Tell us about.
Yes. Well, those secrets, they are open secrets, of course, but they're very important. But people either are not so much aware of it, or they don't believe it's possible. So it's always one or the other. There's nothing in between. And that is that many other people share or have the same dreams as any of us do. For instance, if I like Paris, you might like Paris too. If I like shopping or going to opera or seeing all the chateaus and so on, you might be interested, or Mr. or Mrs. X might be interested, and 2 more people also. So this is always something that, to go alone about that, we talked about the challenges. To have some people on board, it's much more fun. And it's also a combination of a lot of resources that each one brings. It's not only the money, it's and the interest, but everyone has so many expertise, competence, and resources that can really help a lot in long time. And once you have something, then you can expand it. Then you would buy another little one. Then you would go a little bit to Provence, so you're not waiting to have, that chunk of money and then go and buy. It might happens when you're 75 and then you say, oh, now going in another country, I stay here. So, you just think that should not be. And the opium, other people's money, is that many people are like armchair investors. They don't like any, not so much moving, not so much traveling around, especially now. It's, of course, extremely difficult, but it won't stay like that. But they like to own something and or participate, but they don't find the possibilities or people that they can trust to go with them or to put their money with them. And these people we can find everywhere all the time. Each of us know many of them, but never think of, even approaching, asking, sharing, I have this idea. Could you be interested, or do you know anybody who could be interested to have this opportunity? It's not like demanding for money. It's offering an opportunity, a wonderful opportunity that person might never have thought about, or they're too busy for that. To say, okay, I put that much, you go ahead. If I had time, I will travel once or so, but they will use it. And so it might be one person, it might be 2-3%. Always there are some people who are interested. The art is to finding and putting that together. One anecdote is when I started, I'm a graduate pianist and then management and then so on and so forth. But when I started, how I got to investment, it was my art and investment. So like old masters, paintings, antiques, interior design, and so on and so forth. Then it started with the chateaus where I bought these original antiques. Sometimes they wanted to sell those palaces or chateaus, and so private. So anyways, so after a while, it expanded. So what I have done after all those things in the recent years is I married my art and investment in art of investment. So the investment is really an art. So art and investment was one thing, but art of investment is really a fine art if you want to really think of all aspects and so on. And it's learnable, it's teachable, it's usable, and these are opportunities that people often don't think about or envy those who do. But it's easier than one thing.
And that's, I think that's really a great takeaway, is the fact that you've now created that art of investing, because it is an art. It's a skill that you've established over 17 plus years. And the big difference is knowing the languages as fluently as you do, as well as living in the countries.
Yes.
Because again, we a lot of
that's
places that you're able to live in it and lived in those countries. So it's a huge advantage, as far as just a little idiosyncrasies, because we're going to, there's things that we don't know. So even we were working with attorneys and accountants.
Exactly. Yeah.
We don't know the questions to ask them, or we don't know what they're supposed to be telling us, so you have that advantage of being able to do that. So tell us about your community, your club, and then tell us about if someone wanted to work with you, someone was got really excited on this call and said, I really want to do something. How would that happen? How would that work?
Well, as we talked before, also my club or my group is actually it's not like other investors club, which are do a lot of education, which is also very good. I do that also, but a little bit different. Or going just to meeting. There are many of them. This is actually has grown from all my connections. Some of these people I know, and I did other things, like I did financing for their movies, or I bought their apartment building many years ago in Germany or in France or wherever. And some of them were only those who were interested in art, multi-million dollar paintings. It's not, just anything on Montmartre. So those people that have that kind of money, they have the best of everything. They have good arts, they have big homes, they have many homes. They are, if not jet setter, but they have businesses and they travel a lot and so on. So this expanded, like I have somebody who's looking for a vineyard, for instance, in south of France or in Italy or wherever. Do you have something? And it happened that I had some. Or another one said, well, I have that thing, I want to sell it, but I want to buy something else. So this is how it came to form this group. And because there are very important people also, but very busy people, So it's not that we have a monthly meeting or so. Usually it works, it's by invitation or by interest also. It's not something secret or so, but because it works like that, when I have or I receive, which I do all the time, interesting offers, opportunities, one wants to, before anything hits the market, and brokers, and so I work also with top brokers and agents worldwide, also here in the United States. So I cooperate because I have been working as agent also, and I know how important it is to how to work as an agent or a broker with such kind of people. So I bring the investment background, I bring the connections, and I bring my education, and have invested in, and these connections of the team. If you would like to share the website address so people can go and just have a look what we offer and what we do. So this is and all, you know, from time to time we have some gatherings. Well, this time we did, and I plan to have one in November sometime. uh, uh, I hope it's not on Zoom, but maybe it will be on Zoom. I don't know, but you know, with some that you know have some interesting things to share or to buy, or they're interested to invest in other people's projects. We have that one too.
So if
So that's
somebody
how it's
is,
what. And excuse me, to be able to become a member or to be a part of this is that people do one investment with us, which would be at least $400,000, and this is for buying a property that we partner together, and everything is in form of LLC with insurance, with everything. So there's no improvisation. So everything is really completely uh, well planned and legally in right form and so on. So with this thing, they enter the group, and they have, you know, access to those insider offers or properties, or even using some of the properties abroad. For instance, like even I take some people for retreats, a combination of investment and business, and they can join and so on. I don't want a very big investors club in the normal form, because it's not so personal. For me, this is a group that everybody has like a jewelry. Everybody has his own or her own place and importance and attention and cooperation. So it's important. Like I'm sure your group as well.
absolutely. Yes, I can
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I can appreciate what you're doing. My
And there
goodness, you
is,
could speak forever.
yeah,
We could listen to you forever, but finish. I'm sorry.
I know. No, one other thing I wanted to say is if people are not interested or ready or whatever to join this investors group or not yet, they can still take advantage of all what I know, I do, I have, and I offer in choosing to work with me to have this wealth building program, which is a very intense program. So to go in more in detail in what we talk together, it's actually 30 years of compact, diversified experience and expertise that I put in that program. So if somebody work on that with me, it has nothing to do with the club, and they can still have a little bit of those advantages also.
So how do they participate in that? Do they just simply, shall we have them put their information in the chat, all those who are interested? And
They can, you can share it with me. I don't check the chat and so on.
send it to
First,
you.
I wanted to thank you very much for this wonderful uh, gathering and meeting, and your meetings are always very, very interesting with wonderful people as wonderful audience. And for thanking everybody for having the patience to be with us and with me. I would like to offer a gift to everyone who was participating today or that you know, and that is a private consultation session for 20 minutes for anybody who has any questions, because this was very general and people have other problems or private issues and so on that they might not want to be discussed in a general meeting, or specific investment goals. So that would be possible, and either they can call me or email me if you like to share that or share it
Absolutely.
with you.
So,
And so it's actually our gift to your audience
you.
today, yours and mine
Thank
together. And we work
Thank
on
you.
many levels together.
We do,
With
but this
pleasure.
is exciting. For starters, I'll send you a copy of the chat. Anyone who's interested, just put your information in the chat, like, yes, I would love to, or yes, yeah, whatever. And then I'll make sure that you also have Annie's information so that you can contact her directly. But if you're even thinking about it, I mean, there's no one that could have as much experience and expertise and to be as beautiful and wonderful as Annie to take advantage of this opportunity. So don't even think about doing anything unless you talk to her first. And I think we'd all agree on that. And again, we could just go on for hours. And I can't wait for us to meet in person. We've been talking about doing an in-person event. So as soon as things open up,
I
Annie,
hope so.
we're heading We're heading to Beverly Hills.
Sometimes
FC.
I do some meetings also, like more informative and like this one. If you had a chance to do it, another one, if the interest was there, I would be more than happy to do. Otherwise, when I have mine, then I can inform you and you can invite anybody who's interested. Main thing is that, we know who's really interested and who's not. So we don't bother those who are not, and we can invite those who are interested.
Absolutely. So again, put your name in the chat, say yes, 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 or yes, whatever, so I'll know, because that way, she'll be able to follow up from there. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Usually we have time for questions, but your information is so good, so we don't, but you're offering them a private consultation. So that in itself is the greatest gift.
Yes, don't miss that, because that is really very contentful.
Yes, yes. All right, ladies. Thank you. If you have again any questions, feel free to get her information. Let us know that you want to speak with her until we meet again. Au revoir.